everyone, my name's Barney and you are watching Nutrition with LED. In today's video we are going to be making healthy pancakes using NutriBullet and a selection of ingredients that we've got here. This is a great alternative to traditional pancakes, which traditionally have white flour and refined sugars in, which we obviously want to take out of our diet if we're trying to be healthy. So there's two main ingredients for the base pancakes today, and we're going to go through some toppings as well. So what you will need is 3 eggs and 1 banana. So what we're going to do is we're going to peel the banana first of all. Now what you want to look for in a banana is you get different colours. So you've got ones like this, the skin is yellow, and then we've got some older ones here, for example, which are a bit more brown and not as good looking. So the reason I've gone for the yellow ones is as they start to brown, some of the more complex carbohydrates within the banana begin to break down into sugars, which is something we're trying to avoid here. Okay, so I've got my knife and just cut the banana up. Now, if you don't have a NutriBullet, don't worry, you can use a smoothie maker or a blender or whatever really. What I'm going to do is just pop these into the bottom. Then all you do with the NutriBullet is you tie on this lid, screw it on, pop it into the machine, and that'll blend it up for you. Now this isn't actually plugged in at the moment, it's just here for display purposes, but we'll get to that in a minute. So to this banana we're going to add 1 whole egg, so I'm just going to crack that in there. There we go, making sure we do a good job so we don't get any shelling. I'm going to put that in there. And then we want 2 egg whites. I'm going to crack the egg, slowly open it so the yolk stays in. And then just pop it around to keep the yolk in here. That looks about right. There we go, let's not be too fussy. Another egg white as well. There we go. So as I said, we're taking the flour and the sugar and we're replacing them with eggs, which are a great source of essential amino acids and essential fatty acids, and banana, which is a really low glycemic index carbohydrate, which is full of fibre, vitamins and minerals instead, so it's a great alternative. We're going to screw this on now, and then we'll pop it in the machine and get going with the batter. Alright, so now we've got our batter, we are going to cook it. So I'm just using your basic non-stick pan. I'm going to get that heated up to about medium temperature. And then to cook it on, you can use multiple different things, depending on what you wanted. You can use like low calorie oil sprays or butter sprays, whatever you want. I'm going to be using this coconut oil. I think it's a great source of medium chain triglycerides. And it's just a great alternative to butters or most oils. You don't need too much, so I'm just going to take about a teaspoonful, dump it on there, in the middle, and we're just going to pour this, once it's heated up, into the middle, and get it cooking. So, when and why should you have this pancake recipe? You've seen the ingredient list. All you need is 3 eggs and a banana, so it's a really cheap alternative to breakfast, really cheap to make. It's very easy as well. You've just got to chuck it in the blender. You could probably whisk it all up as well if you didn't have one, and it doesn't take long to cook at all, which we will show now. Okay, so we're about ready to go. I'm just going to pour this in now, slowly, starting in the middle. Don't want it too big. There we go. Okay, so we're just cooking it until it browns, and what we're looking for is some bubbles on the outside. They're a little bit deeper than the others. Obviously we've just whisked it up, so there's a lot of bubbles in there already, but it should be fairly easy to tell if you've cooked pancakes before. Personally, I like having this on a Sunday, chuck a few pieces of lean bacon on here, and it's a great alternative to a fry up, I think. There we go, so obviously you've got to use the right spatula for it. Apparently that's the key thing, but you can see on here we've got a nice crisp brown colour going on there. And we're just going to cook that for about another 30 seconds to a minute. Alright, this first one looks done. Let's get that up there. Okay, so you've seen some of these definitely look better than others. As I went, I figured out that they cook better if they're small. I typically just go big or go home, so we've got some bigger ones here, smaller ones here. Obviously you can alter the serving size depending on what you want. I am going to put somewhere on the screen the nutritional content for the whole recipe, and you just divide that up by how many pancakes you make. So if you make 4, you divide it by 4, nice and simple. So we're going to go through some suggested toppings now. What we're going to start with, this is what my mum wants on hers. So we're going to put on some natural Greek yogurt on the top of these, just like that. And then we're going to sprinkle on some blueberries here. So what you're adding there, you're adding another bit of protein, some probiotics in the yogurt, and then a great source of antioxidants, as well as other vitamins and minerals in the blueberries. So that's a good solid lunch there. This one I'm going to go a little bit different, so I'm going to go with strawberries on mine. Again, just another little helping of fruit for the day. And I'm also going to add in some 0-calorie pancake syrup. This happens to be made by Walden Farms. There are other brands out there, this is just the one I happen to have. So I'm going to be really careful, sprinkling on this. Oh, there we go, delicious. So this is a great alternative to maple syrup or other syrups, and per 100 grams, there's 7.9 calories. There's definitely not 100 grams there, so I'm not even getting close to that. Let's grab a knife and fork and get tuck in. There we go, let's get a good bit of strawberry in this. Really good pancake recipe. Obviously, the most of the flavour and texture is going to come from what you put on top. These are amazing, and I actually want to eat some more. So you can see, for just 1 banana and 3 eggs, you can make some great pancakes that only have 215 calories in them. Great weight loss tool and be implemented into any diet, or it can be used as an alternative to normal pancakes. We're going to go through a second recipe now, once I finish eating this. Alrighty, for this next recipe, we're going to be making pancakes that are extremely low in carbohydrates. So per the recipe, they have 3.6 grams of carbohydrates, that's virtually nothing, and about 35 grams of protein. So it's great for people who are trying to increase their protein intake, but don't want to have any associated increase in carbohydrate or fat. So let's get into it. It's a very similar recipe. The base is the eggs again, so we're going for egg whites. Grab my dish again, so 3 egg whites this time, no whole eggs. There we go. So we've got 3 egg whites in there. I'm going to add quarter a cup of water. I've measured this out. That goes in there. And then I've got a scoop of whey protein powder. Now this is coffee caramel flavoured, so I'm not sure how this is going to taste, but we'll see. It's from my protein. It's just an impact whey concentrate, but you can use any protein source or powder or whatever you've got. Okay, so I made a right mess of that, but there we go, it's roughly there. And then again, we just get it blended, and the same process again. But because we haven't used any banana this time, which was the main source of carbohydrate in the last one, completely low carbohydrates. Probably the main source of carbs will be depending on the type of protein you use. Let's get it blended. There we go, it's literally that easy to do. Flip it off, unscrew the lid, and then we've got our batter ready to go. Pop that there and get it going. So once again, we are going to heat the pan. We're going to learn our lesson. I'm using a smaller pan so I don't get tempted to make bigger pancakes. I'm heating it slowly. I'm going to again use coconut oil there. Just let that slowly melt, and I will get my flipper and we'll get going. So one thing to bear in mind when you're making this recipe, or whenever you're using whey protein, is that it forms a thick layer, and those are just the amino acids separating from the rest of the liquid. So what I would recommend doing would be getting a spoon, probably a clean one would be a good idea. So we get our spoon and just slowly stir, Just trying to get that consistency we want so it doesn't separate. So whilst we're waiting for this to heat up, have a think about what you would like me to see me do in the future. Perhaps more dinner or lunchtime recipes, things like that. Just wanted to start off with something cool, something that we can start off the day with. Thought I'd go with that beginning theme. Anyway, let's get it going. So we're going to get a small pancake going in the middle. There we go. Alright, let's wait for that to cook. So for those of you wondering, I think whey protein is a pretty good source to go for. So the criteria I look for when considering a protein is does it rate highly on the biological availability index? And protein does much better than whole eggs, meaning we're able to digest and utilize a lot, if not all, of the protein content within what we get. I'm looking to see if it has the essential amino acids and branched chain amino acids that we need, and whey protein is abundant in them. And then thirdly, I'm looking to see if it's a complete protein. So that really only applies to plant sources where you don't get a full array of amino acids, but whey protein definitely ticks all these boxes. It is, however, a supplement, and there are reasons for or against that. I have written a blog on this topic, and I'll probably put a link in the description down below so that you can have a read of that and just see if this recipe's for you. Maybe the one previous might be better. There we go, good, cooking up nicely this time. Oh, that flip was amazing. There we go, alright. So, as I said, the whey protein flavour I've used is coffee caramel. So, I don't really know how these can turn out, but suggestions, probably vanilla. Yeah, if you want to add your own stuff, like maybe a bit of cinnamon, vanilla extract, like I said, a bit of sweetener maybe, feel free to do it. Just take this recipe as a base and add on your own. Get that plated up and we'll get on with the rest of them. Alright, it's literally this simple. So in here, you're getting a couple of grams of fat, about 3 grams of carbohydrates, and 30 grams of protein throughout all of these pancakes. It's such a good recipe to go for if you're trying to increase your protein. So I guess the question you might be asking is, why would I want to increase my protein intake? And the answer is, if you weight train, or if you train in the gym with machines, or go to classes like kettlebells, body pump, things like that, your muscle requires more protein because it's doing more, it's breaking down, it's building up, and you need to supply it with that fuel for its increased demands. Even more so if you're just exercising in general as well. So running, going to spin classes, things like that require more protein than the average person. So you'll need to increase your intake. So I've mentioned this previously, but I think this would be a great breakfast recipe. Not just because you traditionally have pancakes at breakfast, but because there's good research for why you should have protein in the morning. If you have a high protein, low carbohydrate breakfast, you're less likely to get a sugar rush or an insulin spike, meaning you feel fuller for longer. So when you get to lunchtime, you're not as hungry, and you're less likely to snack in between as well. So probably alternatives to this, you could have eggs, bacon, things like that, instead of your toast or your cereal. We've grown up in a culture where toast and cereal is the breakfast that everyone has. You look in supermarkets, there's whole aisles of cereal, and really, it's not what we want to be having for breakfast. Something like this could be an alternative. I'm not saying throw away your Kellogg's and your Warburtons for this, but maybe just consider it. I'm not really sure how my boss is going to feel about all this dancing, but I guess we'll find out. If you've enjoyed my dancing more than the content, give it a like, why not? Okay, so here I've ended up with 5 pancakes. To be honest, they don't look as nice as the last ones, they look quite eggy. And considering the main ingredient is 3 egg whites, I guess that's what you get. But you know, it's healthy, it's good protein, I'm sure it tastes nice. And you can jazz it up again with the strawberries, blueberries, banana maybe if you wanted, yogurt or calorie-free syrups, things like that, whatever you want to go on. I'm going to add on some almond butter, like I mentioned earlier. Great source of essential fatty acids, vitamin E, potassium, magnesium, things like that. A little bit more crunchy, there's a bit more to it than peanut butter, but that's on there. let's get stuck into it. I don't know why I put it right down the middle, so I've got about 3 pancakes here. That's actually pretty nice, so it definitely needs something a little bit sweeter, so I would probably recommend going with the blueberries and strawberries instead, and maybe adding something like almond butter onto the last recipe where we have the sugar from the butter. But yeah, these are great. Alright, so we've got a slight change of scenery here, but as I was editing this video I realised I didn't actually record an outro. So I've come to work and decided to put that right. So hopefully you enjoyed this video and you've taken away 2 recipes that you can apply, and let me know if you enjoy those pancake recipes, if you make any changes to them, or if you add any toppings and what you prefer. And as I mentioned in the video as well, let me know if you have any suggestions for upcoming videos and anything you'd like any further guidance on. In the meantime, thank you for watching, take care. I'm from Nutrition with LED, see you soon.